guess it's working. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome, welcome. So right now, we are in the midst of a new test, trying to get something going here. I'm going to drink some more coffee. And let's see if we can get this to work. Let me go ahead and do this. Hey Siri, call Andrew Tomlinson. What's up? What are you doing? How'd it go with Logan? Okay, got it. So, okay, perfect. So it's all good then. You figured it out. See, you do know what you're doing. Okay, see? Pretty simple. Good stuff. Hey, so I'm trying to like get ready. I'm going to do my show again tonight, and I need you to like go to YouTube right now, and I'm going to call somebody from my phone. I'm trying to figure out how to get the sound on my phone so that it actually works. You know what I mean? Like last time it didn't really work very good. Nobody could hear me. So I'm trying to figure that out. So can you do that for me? Huh? Well, because when I call in on the phone, it's supposed to be set up so that people can call in and it goes into my audio system. So the audio system has, hold on, a way of record. I don't know how it, well, I don't really know how it does it, but I'm going to try to do it right now. It's plugged in, and I don't know why it's not working. Like, I'm talking to you with my headphones right now, with my iPad phones or whatever, and I'm going to try to... Like, so what I'm trying to do is figure out how to get the phone so when people call in, the volume is good on the phone. Because last time, nobody could hear the callers. You know, and so... see if the sound's good. If you go to YouTube, I'm just running live on YouTube right now. But, you know, obviously there's nobody on YouTube because it's kind of more of my test channel. On Facebook is where everybody's at. And... I'll eventually, you know, I don't even know, who knows, but who cares? Everybody keeps telling me to do it, you know what I mean? I'm talking, like somebody else from my friend from New Jersey today told me, yeah, dude, keep doing it. I'll be on tonight. I'll call in. I'm like, all right. But so like, go like this. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to, hold on one second. Just hang tight for a minute, okay? We gotta get. I'm gonna call somebody else, so you can chat on the chat thing, right? On the. Okay, so you just gotta do. All you gotta do for me is just hang tight right now while I figure out. I'm gonna like hang up from you right now and call somebody else, and then you'll just listen to me on YouTube and then see if the sound comes in, and then you just start. How's my volume on YouTube right now? Just me talking. Okay, all right, good, perfect. I'm going to hang up right now and then just tell me through the chat what's going on. Okay, bye. All right, now Now I can turn that down because that's super loud for me. All right, so I guess right now I'm going to ask you right now if you can hear me. Let me know what it sounds like. See if even the sound even is coming up. Coming up. Coming up. I wonder why it's got echo. Why has it got echo? Oh, because I can hear myself on the computer. Turn that off. All right, go. Let me see if, are you there? Okay, so my sound good right now. Let me go ahead and let's see if I can get the, find out what's going on with the sound on the phone. So let me call somebody. And so right now it's not really even working. Hold on. Let's see. Open widget. It says error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience. What does that mean?
Thanks for calling Kirk Exterminating. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
At the tone.
Hey, did you hear that, Andrew? Hello? Uh-oh. Error. YouTube is not getting enough video. Are you there? Okay, so I think I lost Andrew. But I did figure out a way. So let's go back to this. I guess Andrew's not there. Okay, so did you hear that phone call? Okay. Oh, there's a delay. Okay, got it. All right. So the delay's there. I forgot about that. So let's try to do the phone call thing again. I'm going to call Nathan. And so right now, can you hear the phone ringing? Andrew. Hey, Andrew, can you hear the phone ringing? Hey, did you hear the phone? Did you hear that? Okay. Oh, hey, Mom, can you hear that? I mean, I'm doing a test right now, so I need you to talk to me for a minute. Okay, so tell me your name and your age, where you're from and stuff for a minute. Just keep just tell me, recite something to me that you can hear. Okay, perfect. Keep doing that. Yeah, it's super low. Yeah, so I can't hear you at all still. I'm trying to figure out how to get these sounds. For some reason, like I can't get I'm trying to get the microphone working from the, let's see, so the Rodecaster goes into here. Okay, and it's not picking up any sound. Like advanced. Hold on. No, just keep talking right now. I'm trying to figure out let's try. I'm gonna try it again right now. Hold on. I'm gonna try something else because that's not working. Let me see if.
Oh, now you're coming out louder.
Oh, can you hear that? Does that sound better now?
Yeah, you're coming out much louder.
Okay, so that's the part where I'm just trying to find. Go ahead and say something else. Andrew, can you hear her? Mom.
Lee's retreat is unruly and time-consuming, despite the sense of urgency. So it is more than 8 hours after Lee ordered his army to pull out of St. Petersburg. The General U.S. Grant can still see long lines of Confederate troops marching across the Potomac River to the relative safety of the opposite bank. The
Okay,
bridges
keep
of
talking. Trying to figure out why.
a cannon barrage could kill hundreds instantly, and Grant's batteries are certainly close enough to do the job. All he has to do is give the command. Yes, it will be slaughter. There is still a war to be won. Killing those enemy soldiers makes perfect practical sense. But General Grant hesitates. The war's end is in sight.
Okay,
For now, his plan is to capture the Confederates, not to kill them. Grant has already taken plenty of prisoners. Even as he watches these rebels escape, Grant is scheming to find a way to capture even more.
keep going.
The obvious strategy is to give chase, sending the Union Army across the Potomac in hot pursuit. Lee certainly expects that, but Grant has something different in mind. He aims to get ahead of Lee and cut him off. He will allow the Confederates their unmolested 36-hour, 40-mile slog down muddy roads
All
where
right,
the rebels
I think we got a thumbs up from somebody. It's like we got I guess it sounds pretty good. So I'm hearing it sounds good. Sounds good?
Who are you talking to?
Well, I'm chatting it. I'm like, okay, so I can chat like on YouTube with Andrew. He's the only person watching this because we're testing. I'm testing the system, and that's why I needed you to talk to me so that we could like start talking about what we're doing. And it has, because last time when we did the phone, it didn't work. Remember?
Yeah, but now your voice is coming out nice and clear.
How are you listening to me?
I'm just with my regular cell phone.
Okay, so you're just on your regular cell phone. Okay, so I guess it sounds pretty good. Is it? I'm hearing it sounds perfect right now. All right. Okay, I better like fix that bright light back there. Okay, so I think I got the system working now. I need somebody to interview. Andrew, I
You
think
need somebody to interview?
Huh? Well,
You can interview me if you like.
I can interview
Oh,
you.
somebody,
too.
you're like one of them. Yeah,
Well,
somebody.
I don't know. I'm just gonna like, you know what though? Now I'm gonna try to figure out how to like put words on the Facebook stream, so that I could not like type in like things that so people will be able to call in and say, hey, it says call Rich at Surf City Recovery, or whatever. But I think it sounds good right now, so that's all that matters. It's like right now you're being recorded on YouTube. It is live on YouTube. You are actually live on YouTube. There's nobody watching though, because nobody knows. Like on Facebook, I've got there's 2,000 people on there.
Well, you shouldn't do it until you're more. You can't do this flip flop thing. You've got to be real smooth.
No. Everybody likes the hodgepodge. Everybody likes that. Everybody I've talked to just says that's how I am. So most people know I'm like hodgepodge.
Yeah, but if you're using that as a marketing tool, I don't know. I feel like you gotta be a little bit more smooth.
Nah.
Don't go putting that ear stuff on the.
I like being like rough, like rocky, unsmooth. I prefer unsmooth. All right. Okay, so that's good for now. I'm gonna go ahead
main thing is to test yourself how many new people you get, in the long run, because that's what your goal is. Not to just make your friends happy. You want to go out there and get the new customers, So that's what you got to always think about.
Oh.
Who are your new customers? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right again.
But yeah, my mom's always right. But you're doing a good job. You've got that nice black T-shirt. Your hair is nice, and you've got that real good, positive from the heart. You've got that from the heart, which is really.
Okay.
So let me know.
I'll call you later. You can watch it on Facebook later, and you can see it'll be on Facebook Live in a little bit, like in a half hour. Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay, honey. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. All right. Okay, I'm going to let it run blank right now, and then I'll just see you later. Bye. It'll be on Facebook. See ya. Thanks, Andrew.
pretty cool.
It looks pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
So
Wow,
it's
you
got
can
3
totally
cameras?
see yourself. Wow, that's
then the
cool. You can do
computer.
different angles.
I got all 4. Like I can put anything on the computer. I got 3 computers, different angles. See? And what's weird is the lighting is different. Well, it's kind of the same everywhere, but it's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, so it's like set up. We're live right now on YouTube, though. So now, grab that little chair.
You're live on YouTube right now? What, you just go live and then you leave?
Well, yeah, because there's nobody on there. Nobody's view. There's one viewer.
Well, if you ever get a viewer, then they're going to be like, F this guy, he's not doing anything.
Well, because I'm practicing. I'm just in practice mode right now. So we got to go now. Watch this.
Why do
now,
you just leave it on, though? Because people can be watching it.
I was just leaving because I just want to. Because once I'm up here, so now I'm going to add another
You
platform.
can read your accidental one that you posted on.
So here's Facebook Live, right? Okay, wait a minute. Let me log into Facebook first. And once I get to Facebook, okay, see, like, look, see how it's all giant like that? This is what happened to me last time. So this is not the screen I want to be on. I want to be on this. But look how big it is. It's not right. There's something wrong.
Is it usually like that?
Uh-uh.
Well, can't you just, like,
I don't know how to, like,
like this?
oh, how'd you do that?
You, like, zoom out like that.
Oh. So that's what happened. I did that, and I was like, oh, I started, like, getting sweaty. I couldn't figure out what happened. The screen disappeared, and everything went kooky. How'd you do that? You went like that?
Yeah, as if you're zooming in or zooming out.
Oh, that's what happened. Whoa, is that right now?
No. That was January 2nd.
Okay, so here we go. So that was me going live. Now here I'm going to go live again. All right, so now that I'm logged in, I go to live video, right?
Which one am I looking at? That one?
I usually stick my hand. So no, it's that one. Yeah, that's camera 2. So camera 1, 2, and 3.
That's pretty cool.
So okay, so now look, if we go here, like, see, here's the part where it's like, okay, here's where it gets crazy. So you go, let's just select go live and see what happens, since we don't really know. I hope it doesn't just start going live. Okay, so it's not going to go live yet. So what I have to do is,
I don't really like how this camera makes me look.
huh? It looks great. What do you mean? That looks great. Like, look, you can have your, like, you can zoom in, like.
I think it's weird how it's like.
You got to look
I
over
never
here.
really
Don't
see
look at
those
that.
sides
Look
of
over
my
here.
faces though, like that side.
That
of my
looks
face,
good.
though.
Like, what you're on you're supposed to be this camera, so you're that camera. See, that looks good. But don't look at the camera. What do you mean it's slightly sideways? Yeah, but
Who cares?
that's like kind of like the cool thing about it.
Are they all like on?
Everything's on.
Are they videoing or it's just like?
It's, well, if you're on YouTube
Live.
right now, you're live. So look, we got, nobody's on here. We got Andrew on here. Are you there, Andrew?
How do you know if he's there? Oh, will he say something?
He'll say
If he
something.
said yeah.
No, that was from before. This was, we did the sound check with my mom on the phone. So, okay, we're here. Now we got to go to here, live. Here's where we're at right here. So let's do, so now where do we like, so the idea behind this, so is if I go copy this, I want to try this. So if we just go to this. So then, so complete post deals, connect to video source. Let's do this. Or do I copy that and then go, I have to go to this thing right here. So if I go Facebook
weird.
Live,
I think it's weird having this many cameras on me.
then we go like that and we go Control V and we create the platform. Now we're on live Facebook. That should be popping up now. Now,
What'd you do?
connect streaming software to go live. Now we should be,
Yeah, I guess you have a lot of little.
so it's connected.
Additional
Oh yeah,
things than
Facebook
when I
Live.
was
Then
on
you go
my
like that.
phone.
Boom. So see this? I can connect. I can add. I can go to a whole bunch of platforms. Like I can add, like I can go live on every one of these right now, all at the same time. I can do Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, everything all at once. So like, that's the
I
beauty of
think
the
you
system.
know more than me. I'm
No.
not used to deal with all these different cameras and stuff.
So like the main thing, see, like this is what we're publishing,
I
right?
like how it's a little bit late.
It's delayed. So here's YouTube. Okay, so there we go. So now we're back to the Facebook. And so now, okay, connected to the video source, see this? We got complete post details. Now, is that this? Like, what is this?
Choose
Like,
where to post. Post
Now,
on timeline.
when
Do
are
you
you
want to
going
post
on
on your timeline?
public? Huh?
You wanted to post on your timeline?
Well, where else do you post? What do
I
you
don't
do?
really know Facebook. I'm just making sure that's where you want to post it.
Post on timeline, post in group, just post on timeline.
Yeah, post on timeline.
Okay, so then, and
Can
then,
you like set a time for when you're going live?
how do you do that?
Try
Where would you
pressing
see
it.
Where at? Where do you see that?
When right below it. Right
Oh.
there. Oh.
Later.
I'm curious.
What is later
it,
now?
Like later is. In
Should I just click it?
Yeah, see what it does.
Oh,
Oh, you can schedule it.
right. So we'll go live at 7:30. That only gives us 25 minutes to figure this out. Okay, so we'll go. We'll go
Less than
7:30.
that, 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
25 is
Okay.
25.
How come that's a weird zero? Oh, there we go. Okay, 7:30 p.m. And then now what I'm saying now is, where do we get these banners? How do we put banners up? And that's the part where we're like, okay, so what do we
I
do?
wonder if you have to do it when you're actually going live.
Oh, what's that? Oh,
Questions, that might be it. Add question. I wonder if you can like add question and then write like call, blah, 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 and that will probably pop up.
what is this? I don't know what that is.
Select the graphics package.
So this is like polls. What's a poll?
So that's like voting. For people to vote.
And questions, just like,
I think the question might work best for like if you want it to be viewed, like if you want to say like call this number. Yeah. I think-
right. So,
'Cause
but
I
then
think
like, look
it'll
now, like, here's the thing.
pop
Now,
up.
here's what's happening right now. Where is the thing that we just had? Oh yeah, where did it go? It's up here? Okay, there it is.
Mhm.
So, then, I don't know. Let's
I
see.
want to see what this is or what this does. Allow viewers to reload.
What is that?
Oh, do you want them to message you directly through your messenger for your live video?
Yeah. That's why somebody has to be there to answer it while I'm talking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I can't look
Well,
at that
this
and
would
look
be
at that.
this would be a message, through your your messenger thing,
Ah, on my
like a
phone.
DM,
Right.
not like underneath the video.
Okay. It's not underneath the video, so that's what we're trying to find out is like, how do we like put something on the bottom there?
I think you should set a question.
Okay, type in a question. Let's see what happens.
Type in call. Blah, blah, blah.
Call in to share. What?
I don't know.
Call in to share. 949-209.
Put the little parentheses and the little dash marks.
For what?
The number.
Right here? What do you mean?
You know you do parentheses 949 parentheses.
Like that? Go like that, and then put the dash in between this,
Uh-huh.
like that. Okay, leave it like that.
Save.
And so where does that show up?
I think. Should
I
we
wonder-
test it?
Then we'd be how do you test it?
Should we test it on mine?
On your what?
On my Facebook?
Yeah, I guess we could.
I don't think anybody's on my Facebook.
Nobody what is on your Facebook?
I don't
Okay,
think.
so we can do that. Let's go test on your Facebook. So then let's go back to.
Just do a new tab and I'll log. Do you think it'll mess everything up?
Yeah, I'll have to get a new streaming key
Maybe
probably.
not then.
We could just go live right now. Just go, hey, we're testing.
Yeah. They're cool with that.
Nobody
Oh.
cares. Nobody's even. There's gonna be like 3 people all night long. There'll be like 3 people.
Nobody's
There'll be
even-
my friend called one of my friends. He's an asshole or whatever. He goes, "Hey, why don't you just call me on the phone? We'll talk because we're the only ones on here." Then I'm like, oh, thanks.
That works. You should have your friends call in just like to make it look like there's people calling. in.
Right. Exactly.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's
Yeah,
see.
we have to
We have to test it.
we have to test it.
Or we just like don't worry about it, and that's why all you do is while I'm talking, you just add stuff. Like we gotta like figure out what to add to it. Like there's.
I think we should figure out beforehand, like log on like 10 minutes before, like right now or something,
and just
and then just
kinda-
figure it out, and then if anybody wants to join it, 7:30 or whatever.
Right. It doesn't matter. Once you start, you start.
It's like the music people. They go testing, and they test all the sounds and stuff. They do that with the crowd there, don't they?
Yeah, it's like
Kind of.
so lame. I feel so embarrassed already.
Oh, are you feeling embarrassed? Are you getting
Uh-huh.
nervous?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not actually. You know what's funny is like I said, it's like my friends like said
Your
it was
eyes are small.
Sure, I can't even see mine. There's my glass. Okay, so should we just run it?
Yeah,
See what happens? All right. You want to just stay on? You can just be the guest.
yeah. I'll be your
Technical
advisor until you got it figured out. Then I'll leak a chat.
Yeah.
This is all pretty cool.
It's pretty rad. So like this.
Yeah, that's crickets.
Uh-huh.
I'm so proud of it.
Right? Yeah, that's what we'll play is we'll start with crickets.
Is this on?
The mic, yeah.
Hello.
Let's see, go ahead, hit it.
Testing. I am the technical advisor.
Technical advisor.
My name is
to the-
Nicole.
let's see, we got. I don't even know what these things are.
Trying to
here.
figure
We'll
out
go like that.
Facebook Live.
We'll just go there like that. We know that's on. We know everything's on.
Oh,
Alright,
this is
so-
fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I feel
All
pretty
right, can you hear
professional.
me?
I feel famous.
So, all right. All right, we're just gonna go live.
okay.
Let's
I
see
can
if it
see how
works.
this would make you really nervous.
How come it's not doing it? Oh, live scheduled. It's it. I scheduled it.
So
Okay.
cancel the schedule.
I'll just go
do
now. Oh shit. Oh wait, here it is. Okay.
Go.
All right, there we go. Oh,
Oh yeah, add a title.
what should the title be?
I don't know.
Wait,
What are you
happened?
titling your podcast? Or
Where do you type it?
add title.
Oh, duh. What now? What? Oh, over here.
Oh, description.
Where?
That could be where you say call blah blah blah. Oh, maybe not. No.
Because it wasn't in the other one. So what do we put?
What are you doing on this? What are you calling
Your
this
live
podcast?
video will also. What are we doing also? Okay. This is round 2. What do I put?
I don't know. What are you calling the podcast? Don't you know what your podcast is called?
The Rich Show?
What are you calling it? Isn't
I'm
it?
calling it the Rich Show. No?
I thought it was for
Maybe
your
most- huh?
detox.
Inspire. Okay. Surf City Recovery Detox.
I don't know. What
Title.
are you calling? You should have a name for. You don't have a name
Inspire.
for your podcast. Well,
the-
that's the first thing. You should have a name for your podcast.
The courage to change.
Yeah.
Okay. Description.
Put inspire the courage to change podcast.
Podcast. Oh. Okay. And then what? This is an open forum and sharing of our experience, strength, and wait a minute. Strength and hope. I hope you join us. Okay. Let's help people. Let's help people recover from
Maybe you
addiction.
should like say what they're calling in for, because they're like, okay, please call in 949,
As it relates
the
to
number.
addiction.
like to
please
share
call
your
999.
story, to like share your like, what am I
Right.
calling in for? Are you gonna ask me questions? Am I gonna win something?
Okay, what do I put?
Say like, please call in. What are they doing? Are they calling in to share their story? Are they calling in to like?
Yeah, they're
Are you like doing like an online meeting? Like, I don't know.
No,
Maybe they're
like
like,
a-
what's happening?
yeah, this is an open forum of sharing our experience, strength, and hope that we can help others with addiction.
Please call in to that number to to share your story.
And yeah, let's help people recover from addiction by sharing.
Well, no. Say please call in to
Where
do
at?
what?
Please?
After the number, please call in at that number to share your story.
Okay. To share what you're going through or what you have
Been through.
been through. How you did it. How you did it. Or
Do what you're going through, comma, what you've been through, comma, and how you did it, or how you did it. What you're going through, or what you've been through, and how you did it.
or questions on how to do it,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
We'll just do it. Okay.
Oh, why is it going that way?
I don't know. Or questions on how to do it, how to recover.
Yeah.
From addiction. This is an open forum and sharing of our experience, strength, and hope. Please call in 949 to share what you're going through or what you have been through, or questions on how to recover from addiction. Surf City Recovery. I got to put that in there, right? Surf City Recovery provides detox. Detox. Residential. Should I capitalize that?
Why? I
No.
think just Surf City Recovery should be capitalized.
And then just put provides. Detox, residential, and IOP services in Hunting. Is this going to be
What?
California? That's it. That's all. What's all this? Okay.
Do you want to tag anybody?
No. Now what?
What's the little location thing? Do you want to
What
put the
location?
location? Right, the one next to it. What's check-in? I don't know. What's that? Oh. You can say where you are.
Okay. Well, I don't want to put exactly where I am, do I?
Okay, you don't have to put where you are then.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the little guy? Try
Feeling-
that. What's
Blessed.
activities?
Huh?
What's the activities thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Do feelings. And feel
Where do you
blessed.
see that? Feeling blessed.
That's a good one.
Okay.
I'm
No,
not trying
we
to
don't
raise
want to do
money.
that. Okay, so now what? Now go live.
Yeah. I should have my phone so I could see what
Yeah.
it looks like on my phone.
All right. Yeah. So pull it up on your phone.
Wait, can I bring other-
And okay, so I don't even know what's going on. So we're gonna do this right now. So it is a little bit earlier. So I want to just kind of get but then I thought I would change it over to Inspire the Courage to Change. I want to, guys, first introduce you to Nicole. Nicole is going to be my technical advisor.
Just
She's
for the
like,
first 10 minutes.
just
or
for the
so.
first 10 minutes or so, and then we're trying to find out exactly if the sound works, because last week I was on, and so everybody, welcome to Inspire the Courage to Change. My name's Rich Seidel, and this show is hosted by Surf City Recovery. We are a full-service detox residential PHP IOP sober living facility here in Huntington Beach. So we're here to share our experience, strength, and hope. We're here to discuss how to recover from addiction, and we're just kind of creating a live forum. Like I said last week, I have no idea exactly what I'm doing, but I am going to do it because I can. And I have an opportunity. It's more than just talking about it. We can actually place you in treatment. We have been in business 10 years, and so it's nothing new for us. But being on Facebook is new for me, and it's like my glasses are already getting smoked and fogged out because I'm starting to sweat. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get somebody. We're doing a couple
Did you
things.
want to actually go on at 7:30 though?
Why is
I
it?
thought we were just testing it.
Oh, we are testing it right now.
But
So
I'll show you what it looks like.
okay, so we're looking at what it
pretty
looks
cool,
like. It looks pretty cool. So we got 2 viewers. If there's okay, so what I was trying to do is now we can actually see. This is the first time. Last time I was on, I was like just yammering, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And this is going to be a repeat yammering because I still don't know what I'm doing. But with the help of Nicole, the lovely Nicole is going to be she's my Vanna White. And she's going to be sitting off in the background doing some stuff for me so that we can make sure that last time I hit the controls and then it just lost its, I don't know what, it lost something. But
I think I'm going to move out of frame.
so you can move out of frame if you want. You don't have to.
Bye guys for now.
Bye for now. Okay, so anyway, so what we're going to try to do is figure out how, and this is where I need everybody's help because, like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing, but what I'm going to try to do is take these off for a minute and put those down there, and then let's see, since you can watch that, she's going to watch that. If somebody out there in Facebook land, if you would please, I want to try and see my phone right here. The phone is connected to the system. The whole point of the show is to get people to call in. Kind of want to I'm going to tell a little bit. I'm going to finish and continue with the story I started last week. I was at D Hall, and I said, okay, at the end of this, I'm going to tell you what's going on next. I know it was a cliffhanger. I know you guys were just waiting for me to tell you guys the story of what happened to me. I know you guys are so excited just to hear me. But no, I'm just kidding. You're not. But at the end of the day, we're trying to get some information together so that I can start really making, what do you call it, those like reels? Because I want to get some reels, and I'm hoping that during the whole conversations that we could kind of get in depth about addiction, about recovery, and about how to go from being completely hopeless into finding hope in our lives and how we do that together and what that looks like. Hey, what's going on, Jeff? Now, so here's, I'll have 2 years sober 2 days thanks to SCR. Jeff, the man. The legend. Woo! Super stoked on that. I can't wait for that. 2 years. So, thank you for coming on and being a part of the show right now. Maybe you could call. Hey, check this out. Can you call in right now, Jeff? Just call me really quick so that I could put you on. I want to test out the phone and essentially see if it works because it's going to see this thing that makes the noise. Listen, you guys. Thank you, everybody. Jeff, yeah, we're just cheering for you, Jeff. But what you got to do is you got to call in so I can have you on the show right now. That would be pretty awesome if you did that. So go ahead. I'm waiting for you to call right now. I'm just going to call you. If you don't call me, I'm calling you. All right? And then I want to test the phone out. So if there's anybody out there that even... Okay, there he is right there. Let me get my headset on. Everybody Okay, can you hear me, my man? We are on Facebook Live right now. That's the whole point. So what I'm trying to do is determine what.
Sorry.
Go outside. Go to the other room. And, hey, so like, what's going on? 2 days, 2 years. What do you say about that? It is kind of amazing. It's kind of a miracle, huh? Okay, so here's what we're doing right now, Jeff. What our biggest problem on this whole system is when people call in, I'm having a problem getting the volume up. So before that's what we're trying to do is figure out why the sound is not coming through on.
Is it connected?
It's
Is
connected.
this connected somehow?
It is. Oh no, it's not. Hold on. Jeff, can you talk into the phone now?
Can you hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you. Go. Wait a second. This is all like a test run. We're doing it. You're a sound guy. You're a music guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do some testing.
Okay, so check it out. I think we're using. Is it working? It's working now. Yeah, Jeff, you're the man. All right. So tell me what's going on in your life right now. Okay, wait a minute. Gavin says he can't hear you. Gavin is online. And he's going. We can't hear you. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about where you're at.
You can't hear you, or you can't hear what I'm saying?
He said he can't hear you. All right. I'm looking good. Somebody said that. Okay, can you guys hear? Can you hear Jeff?
Test.
You just have to let him talk.
Okay, tell us what's going on in your life today.
Everything is great, man. Holidays with the family are so much different. I'm not talked to like I'm a fucking 11-year-old child anymore, which is great.
Yeah. So, how many times you been in treatment?
Man, I've probably been to 16, 17, 18 rehabs. I can't count how many. I started getting sentenced. I got my first case when I was like 21. I started getting sentenced to like rehabs. I started off at like super bougie places because my dad thought spending more money would help, and then I ended up, Salvation Army, Rock Center, Phoenix House, So I've been through all. I mean, even Surf City Recovery. Before I went there, I was like, dude, how have I never heard of this? Because I thought I've been to like every treatment center in Orange County.
Yeah, you were going to like all these bougie treatment centers, going, yeah, I'm gonna get sober, and then you finally hit rock bottom and ended up at Surf City Recovery.
Yeah.
With some
but
crazy
that's the thing. I mean, it's always good to have a middle, because the super ridiculously bougie ones, that extra money that you're paying out really doesn't help. But you also, for me, I mean, because I feel like it's nice to have a cool middle to where you're in some sort of a safe situation to where you can concentrate on yourself, but having like, personal chefs and that kind of like having to do nothing for yourself doesn't help either. So that's why, Surf City's cool, man, because it's like, and you, I mean, realistically, like you being involved also helps, because it's like most places you go to, like you never see the owner, you don't even know what they're doing, they don't even care. I mean, not that they don't care, but they, you could pass them on the street and like not even recognize them or know who they are, or not being involved. But my life's fucking amazing now. I live with Tyson. We're moving houses, so we live over by South Coast. So we're going to be moving here shortly. But because I don't spend $100 on drugs and alcohol every day, I am not broke, which is cool. So we can figure it out, and my life's just my life's like 30. I would say 30x times better than I thought it would be 2 years ago. Where I thought I would like hope to be, I would say I'm like 30 times better than what I even thought.
And that's amazing. That's so rad. I'm super stoked. So on Wednesday is your birthday?
Yeah.
Okay,
11.
So the alumni meeting at the center is Wednesday. You got to take a chip that night.
Okay.
You're going to be.
Right.
Did you already,
I came to the center, and I took my 18 months there too.
at the
whatever.
Were you the speaker? Did you do this? Were you the?
I
speaker?
did. Yeah, you had there.
So
Yeah.
you were already the speaker, so you could probably do it again if you want, because you're going to be doing your birthday, so that'll be like speaking too. The
Yeah.
So that's pretty rad. I'm super stoked that you called in and just kind of checked in. I like most, like I was even saying this last time, is like, there's like, you go on Facebook, and really the idea is to try to find like I'm just going to be honest, like I'm trying to create an opportunity for, as we're talking, that we can, like, how, because like if Surf City Recovery, we just opened up the detox, right? And we got it up and running. It's full, all systems go over there. And, I've never really done marketing or branding or any type of stuff like that. So I thought, well, at least if I can go out like this and get used to talking to people online and seeing myself do this. And sometimes it kind of, honestly, I feel like I should change the name of Surf City Recovery to Kook City Recovery, because I'm a kook. And
well, and once you get famous on Facebook, then everybody's going to want to detox at your detox.
At my detox. And so, I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Honestly, but it really, at the end of the day, it's to give people an opportunity to be a part of the community that we've created at Surf City Recovery. And I think that that's something that needs to get out there. And at the same time,
which is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's the whole goal of it. And then, how they do those reels, those 30-second reels? The idea is to be able to go, hey, we're going to talk about spirituality today. We're talking about how, like, if you look at, like, the things that were different in your life, if just in a conversation with you right now, thinking about, okay, so I don't know what makes our place more attractive to people who are like, and I don't want to say degenerates, right? Like full blown, like nothing else seems to work. They're like fully like, kind of like, I don't want to say hope to die junkies, because you're not that. You don't want to die. But at the same time, it's like the real like dope fiend, like, prison term. I don't know. There's something about the people that come in here that we seem to have a better effect on, because we're like less strict or something. I don't even know what it is, but there's something.
And I when I got there, because like, and not everybody's the same, because some people need kind of that rope pulling on them like that. But like I do, even in my past sobriety, because I've had like 18 months and everything under that before. I've never had 2 years before, but all the other times, even that I've like been able to get sober and had some sort of a mindset that it was better for me, are when, people like you, where it's like, again, like I said that to you when you came in, like you kind of give us just enough rope to hang ourselves with in that sense, which
right.
Some people it might work, for some people it doesn't. But for a lot of anybody that's been like either, locked up or any sense of the form, like I do really bad when people are like, I want it. For some reason, I self-sabotage worse when people are like sitting on my hands for me and like, trying to convince me like that, I shouldn't, like all this stuff. And you guys are kind of like, look, this is what we do. This is a better way of life. And like, we'll show you, but like, also like, if you don't want this, like obviously like you guys are, the doors are open, which is like a lot of rehabs are like that too. But a lot of, also you go to a lot of places and it's like, if you don't have specifically Jesus Christ in your life, you're not going to make it. Or if you don't, and they kind of talk at you, as opposed to like, you kind of do a lot more of like, you're more laid back and you connect with people on that level, as opposed to like, you're a client and I'm going to talk at you, as opposed to just like sitting down and having just regular conversations with people. Because at the end of the day, any addict, whether it's like a newer person or it's a little bit of time, like you want to be talked to like a human being, and not just like you're just like some fuck up piece of shit. That's like, if you're always talked to down like that,
Right.
then you think of yourself like that, and you have this like kind of way about you where you just have a conversation with people, and there's no like judgment, there's like at all. Like you're just like, yeah, like I was fucking like this, and I was probably worse than you, or like, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that like one of the things that I've always felt like, even like, like depending on how old you are when you come into treatment, it's like I've been through so many different things in my life where it's like every story somebody talks about, I can go, oh yeah, I was there. Like if you go, oh, I was in LA County. I mean, I don't want to bring up, my mom got mad at me for talking about the jail stuff so much, but like, like you go, hey, where did you go to, what's your number? Like, what's your, mine's J34903, right? Everybody remembers that. And
Yeah.
so like when you go, oh yeah, I went through the loop over in Orange County or whatever, and it's kind of like the qualifying factor. Like if we've been there, it's like one of the most important things is that you can really identify with where somebody's at if you've been where they are. And I think that that's the most important part of recovery is when you find a place where, hey, you know what, like what I've done isn't so bad. How many times I've stolen from, my mom or stolen, I mean, just the saying like, liars, cheats, and thieves, I guess is the saying. And then, it's like one of those things.
When I when I shared when I had my year, and like what I've noticed also this time, and Tyson and probably a lot of the guys in my sponsorship group and stuff, and it's like it's just way more honest when I'm with all those guys as opposed to like that borderline, just like I woke up today. I read pages 60 to 68, and it's like it sounds very scripted, and like I lose interest very quickly if I can't tell if somebody's being genuine or not.
Right.
And so, I spoke when I had a year because Tyson's getting 8 years. His birthday's 2 days after mine, so he'll have 8 years 2 days after me in a week or whatever. And when I shared it and I shared it, and like I've never talked about like my family because like I didn't feel comfortable because like. My parents are still married. They've been together for like 40 something years. And I remember one time I shared that and somebody was like, why are you a drug addict then? And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I didn't know that like my parents not being together, like disqualified me. So like there's certain things where like you be honest, like that was like when way early recovery, like back in my 20s. And like, I was just like, all right, I guess I won't share about like, I won't be completely honest, right? I'll be like semi-honest.
Right.
But like Bryce said, I was like, yeah, like my heroin addiction where it took me was to the point of when my parents would go on vacation and I was so strung out on heroin and meth and Xanax and all this stuff that I would hope that my parents would die so I could get more money to get more drugs. And I repeated that when I said it, because when I said it, I couldn't even believe that I actually just said that out loud, because I don't think I'd ever actually realized that. And that was one of the most like humbling moments that like, I wish the people that like brought me up in this life died so I could get money to get more heroin. Right. And like, if you think about that, that is the most ridiculous. I can't think of a bottom, actually, not places that I've been, a prison or anything like that. My mindset, I can't think of like a worse bottom than that,
Right. What's crazy is like how our brain basically works. It's like our disease is really our thinking. It's like, who thinks like that? What kind of person actually goes around and actually just hopes for something like that to happen just so that they can continue to get high? That's like the disease of addiction right there. That's like probably when
we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's who thinks like that. Exactly. That's the scary part is like, going to any length to get high is like a scary place to be. And like knowing, I think the most important thing is like when you say that right now is to remember exactly. There's a part in the book that we read. It says, the alcoholic at times can't bring into memory with sufficient force the pain or suffering of a week or a month ago. And we forget how we used to be. All of a sudden, life starts getting good. We start getting the car, we get the girl, we get the house, we get all these things. And all of a sudden, we lose sight of that old person. And the most valuable tool I think that we have is like what you just got done sharing and coming on, even in sharing and disclosing that and being open and transparent, is because it helps you remember like who, like if you look at like this is the old you, and that's what the old you used to think and do, right? And you got to stay in the new. And you got to stay in this place of total gratitude. And you have to remember what you used to be like, because we will forget. I forget. One of the reasons I came out, and I think everybody should do this if you're like kind of like one of those guys like us that's basically has like a history, I call it qualifying history. It's like a criminal history report. You can go to LiveScan and get one of your criminal history reports, and you could just get that so you could look at every time that you've been arrested, every time you went to jail, every time you were on probation, every case that closed, so that you look at it and it's kind of like a punch in the gut, and it reminds you of who you really were. Because all of a sudden, like you've been sober, you're going to be sober 2 years, and all of a sudden you're going to start forgetting that guy that you were just sharing about. And that's when it gets, that's when all of a sudden your defenses are down. And I know that people talk about spiritual experiences and spiritual awakenings, but it's when I forget who I really was. When I forget who that guy was, Like, and then more importantly, I forget to be afraid of that guy. Like, I'm afraid of the old me because of what he's capable of doing, and more importantly, what he thinks. You know, and
Right.
that's like a powerful testimony, like the story you just got done telling, because that's what's going to keep you in a position where you're helping other people on a regular basis, because you
Right.
know you don't want to go
Right.
back to that old self.
Well, and I feel like everybody has some sort of like, you know, spiritual awakening. Like probably if you stay sober a year, whether you realize it or not, you have some sort of spiritual awakening, whether you realize or not. Like there's usually something. If you're working a program, you usually have something. But like you're talking about, like what anybody is afraid of, like relapsing, which begins with that, is like, you know, after whatever. I mean, sometimes it happens for me after 3 months, sometimes after a year and a half. By the time I have whatever it is a spiritual unawakening, right? Which is what you're talking about, where like I forget, and I'm like, you know, I've been sober for this long, so like I can probably just, you know, shoot heroin on Saturdays, and I'll probably be fine. And this is what my brain tells me on still sometimes. It's like, dude, like you could fucking now you know you have a little bit more money than last time you got sober, and like you know now that I got all my trust back, I could go to, you know, my parents' house, I have to go to the house, like all that stuff, and that spiritual unawakening. That's the scariest part, when like you just, you know, think you're the shit in AA, and like, you know, you've done all this stuff. Like you could easily do that. Like, hey, I started a company, I own this now, I do this, whatever, and like I'm better than all these people, like that. And you start having that like feeling, which whether people say it or not, like after you have a year or two of sobriety, like there's a couple moments I feel like that happens for everybody, where like somebody will share, and you'll instinctively in your head be like, oh, I'm better than this guy. Like I fucking did this, and this, and like you're not. So like that's the scariest part. If I start thinking I'm better than other people, that's a fucking super dangerous place to be.
Yeah, so like I think the most important thing is just to stay like they talk about. I was talking about this the other day. Like if you're in a 12-step program, it's an anonymous program, and the word anonymous to most people is in reference to, like, I'm not telling you my full name. I'm staying anonymous, meaning I'm staying in secret. I don't want to divulge the true nature of what's going on, which for the most part, that's what it means. But it really means something else. If you look at the word anonymity, there is a definition, and I guess somebody could look it up, but it's humility. And it's like, this is kind of like the key to every type of, like, it doesn't matter what, like if you're out there and you're listening to us and whatever you're going through, if you really think about like how to stay right sized, it's like learning about humility and how to have it, like, you know, because for the most part, what you're talking about is when you start getting cocky, all of a sudden you start thinking you're the shit, you know, and that's a fact, you know, especially in alcohol. I was telling a bunch of guys, I was saying this the other day, I go, hey, you better hurry up. If you get through your steps, the benefit of getting through your steps is you get to tell other people what to do. You get to question them. Hey, what step are you on? Hey, why aren't you doing that? Why do this? You should do that, you know? And
right.
I mean, that's just, but at the end of the day, it's like one of the most important things is to work a program like that as best you can, and stay humble, and, you know, and then that's how you get 2 years. You know, that's how you get to put time together. You like surrounded yourself. And I think that the most powerful thing is you got your old sponsor. For you, like what I watched you go through is like, I think, I forget, Heather or something. Heather was the, you know, the therapist, right? And
oh yeah,
we used to talk like when you first came in. Yeah. Listen, when you first came in,
I remember
we talk about like how your disposition and where you were at in the very beginning, and the progression of your recovery, and like where it's at now, and everything you're doing in your program is just so amazing. Like it's crazy. Like
right.
It's like the craziest thing. And like the funniest thing though ever was when we did the dance off. That had to be the funniest thing in the world, and I don't know. I forgot what we did it, but it was hilarious.
No, we did. And I won't say his name, but remember the kid that I came in there with from Coastal Addiction Center, and you were trying to get him up to dance, and he would not get up. Remember the young Mexican?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah, that was.
He would not get up and do anything at all. It was so funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
But that's the thing, is we don't want to embarrass ourselves. You know, we don't want to embarrass ourselves more or anything. And for a lot of people, and you know, especially in recovery too, that's the difference. Is a lot of people don't want to like admit it. like I'm an alcoholic or I'm an addict or anything like that, or especially like the family members or people. Because I mean, you want to talk about being anonymous. I mean, in my family, I was anonymous for a minute, even though my aunt and uncle met in AA. They both have like 22 years. They live in Idaho. And then my uncle on my mom's side, he has like 9 years. And then my dad and everything, I have uncles that have, died from this disease from like, jaundice and like smoking crack to death and that kind of stuff. But in my immediate family, like, because my parents are like the good ones of their family, and like they didn't want to admit to, like, their siblings that like I was having this issue. So like for such a long time, in my 20s, I'd go over there for like family stuff or whatever it was, and it's like, don't talk about this, like, and like they didn't want to. So that kept me actually anonymous in the dark for using, because I would be able to get away from it because they didn't want to act like I was a drug addict, so I could get away with going to the bathroom for 2 hours during a family event and them not saying anything because they don't want to let other people know. So that was actually the worst part, is staying anonymous during being a drug addict, as opposed to working a program and having time and saying it if I want to, because there's a difference of like, yeah, I'm a drug addict or I'm an alcoholic. When you have 30 days, of course, that's shitty to say. Right. But when you have a year, 2 years, multiple years and stuff like that, and you say, yeah, I'm in recovery and stuff like that, the difference of that is a huge black and white, where people are like, oh shit, like he was this and now he's this. Like that's a huge difference, to be able to say that, and it helps you out as a person also, because you can say it kind of a little bit more, not in an egotistical way like we were just talking, but a little bit more proud and with your chest out of what you've done, as opposed to like, yeah, like I'm back in rehab. And, I mean, it's always shitty to say in the beginning. It's not a fun fucking experience,
Right. And I'm playing with my cable and my cord right now.
Still sound checking?
Yeah, you know what? It's always like everything right now is a sound check. Everything's like, hey, am I gonna be able to take some information like this? I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is to like distribute this as a podcast too. And that's why really like your perspective is really helping out a lot, because, and I think one of the things that I thought was interesting is that like how our parents, like how we're trying to, or I guess they're trying to not, I guess they don't want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
They don't want to address it. And I don't know how it is. And I know there's a lot of people that they get thrown into rehab early, at, 16, 17, they go to like, adolescent rehabs because they're smoking weed and just doing a little party, in which I'll be honest with you, that kind of scares me. When families send their kids right away to rehab at an early age, because they go in there, and this is something important because a lot of times I get a call from a parent that's saying, oh, my son's smoking a lot of pot and I want to send him to rehab. And now this isn't medical advice. I'm not giving anybody advice on how to do or anything, because I don't want you to misconstrue this, but it's just been my experience and I know that there's people out there that know what this is like. Even if you're doing a little bit of Xanax or something, people do that and they send their kids to treatment, but then they learn in treatment how to do like so much more and so much more dangerous. And they go in for smoking pot and doing Xanax, a little bit of that. And the next thing you know, they're shooting fentanyl and dying. And they wouldn't have learned how to do that if they didn't go to treatment. And that's why there's like a fine line about sending people to treatment, a super fine line. And you have to really be careful with that. That's for sure. Because I know that
it's like sending an 18-year-old kid to jail for stealing clothes from Walmart, and they come out like with way worse acquaintances and way worse ideas of like what they're going to do from talking to people,
Exactly. They're just going to be like career criminals is what happens. And I mean, it's just like, it doesn't happen all the time. And sometimes it works, I guess. But for the most part, the people that I'm seeing come in early 18, 19, 20, they're just not really ready yet. And now granted, alcohol and drug addiction leads to jails, institution, and death. And that's just a fact. We know that too. So it's really a hard thing to navigate. It's like, okay, when do I make the decision to call a treatment center and enroll my child, my loved one? When does it make the most impact? And how does that really work? And that's kind of an interesting topic. Like
when you send a young kid into rehab, and like you said, like some kids, it's different. I mean, okay, maybe you found a pill or something, but if they're not exhibiting real drug addict behavior, you might be throwing him into something worse. Because what happens too is you get like 18, 19, 20-year-old kids like you're talking about that maybe smoke weed or you know, whatever it is, which I'm not saying that's great. It can be a gateway drug, sometimes, which obviously usually it's the people though. But what will happen a lot of times is like you send them to a place with real hardcore drug addicts, and then what happens is those people are sharing, and you got the kid that maybe was smoking weed on a regular basis, but not really doing too bad in life, but just kind of doing that. And then what happens is all he hears is that he's a drug addict and he needs help, so he identifies as a drug addict. And then all that happens is that he feels like he doesn't qualify with everybody else, and he needs to get out there and get worse life experience to qualify.
Exactly.
And can be putting them in a worse
speaking of
situation.
qualifying, and like, you know, one of the things where like it's interesting because we can both kind of share on this a little bit. Like, what is it that, like, if you look at, like, because we were talking about like, hey, when do we send somebody to treatment? When do we send somebody to Alateen, or when do we send them? Like, when do we start taking action? And it's like, if you look back in your history and go, okay, when could my family have intervened with me and tried to get me to change the direction I was going in, and what does that actually look like, and what's at stake? What are the consequences? Because like in some cases they're going to die, and that's just the way it is. And my heart goes out to the families that have had that experience 100%. And is there interventions that can take place to prevent that? There absolutely is, because now they have medically assisted treatments. There's this shot called Sublocade that is like a kind of a lifesaver. Were you on Sublocade too?
No, I was on.
Do it.
I was on Subutex for a minute, and I was going to get the Sublocade shot, and I just like on my own that I don't want to do anything ever again that I ever have to withdraw off of. I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Period. I'm never withdrawing any drugs ever again.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get it. I was actually at Surf City, and you guys were going to take me back over, because I was at Coastal Addiction Center before, and they were going to take me over there. And that's the main question. I was like, am I going to have to detox off of this? And they were like, yeah, kind of, but it's going to be slower and this and that. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing it, because I also had to have I had kidney stones while I was in detox before you guys, and they put me on Norcos and Percocet, and I had to detox back off of those again while I was in detox again. And I was just like, dude, I'm done. I'm not detoxing off of anything. I'm over it. But you know what's funny is you're talking about that with the, like, when can parents make a decision or any of that kind of stuff. I have a friend that we started doing heroin together. I think I was like 19 or 20. We started doing heroin together, and I don't know for myself what my parents could have done differently. I feel like I was one of those kids where, like, anytime they tried to give me any sort of advice, it's like I just fucking left the house. I was gone. So like they did what they could for me. But I do have a friend that I remember we started doing heroin together. His parents caught him with heroin or high on heroin or with drugs or whatever, or maybe he got arrested for heroin or whatever. And I remember they actually posted on this was right around when Facebook was starting and stuff like that too. And they posted on all of his accounts and his phone and everything that he had died.
Yeah.
And to not contact him or the family ever again. And I found out years later that he was not dead, that his parents realized that it wasn't the drugs, it was all of the people that he was hanging around with and all of the friends. They moved cities. They told everybody and all of the friends that he was hanging around that he had died and passed, and please do not contact the family. And it's a hard time for them and everything. And everybody forgot about him. And he popped up years later doing great because his family separated him from all of the people that he was around. And they moved they didn't move super far. I think they moved like an hour and a half or 2 hours away or something like that, but it's completely far. And that doesn't save everybody, obviously, but he, as far as I know, he still drinks randomly now, and he's not considered an alcoholic or drug addict. He just needed to get away from where he was going, which was nowhere,
A great example is like, there is like, we don't have like the corner on the market. What we have to do for our sobriety is definitely, I will say this, it's not like the only path to a happy and usefully and whole existence. But if you're like, I guess it's just one of those things where you have to make a decision, right? The decision, remember we used to talk about the word decision, a conclusion or resolution that is reached after careful consideration, right? So each person goes through their addiction and they they learn from their own mistakes if you're lucky enough to live through them, right? And then come to the conclusion on what's going to be best for you. Because it says somewhere in the book about like you have to diagnose yourself and go to the nearest bar room and try. And I think that that's like, some people say that's an unhealthy thing to say. Some people think it's a good thing to do because you have to find out for yourself what's going to work for you.
Right.
But if you like, one of the things that we found like just in the fellowship is that the idea that you can do it alone is very remote, right? That you have to have a vehicle like a 12-step program, and you have to have a vehicle get you introduced to the 12-step program. Because I think the hardest part, even for yourself, like you could probably think about this, like going into a 12-step program from a treatment center, if the treatment center is not plugged into the 12-step program, or the people there aren't going to kind of like spoon feed you that program, it's really hard to get connections and really hard to get the relationships that, like the ones that you have right now, you forged over years prior to 2 years ago. They were already previously set up, so to speak. And then when you were ready, they were there to then take you to the next level. And I think that that's like kind of like the key is like sometimes people come in right away and they can get taken to the next level immediately if there's that window of opportunity of that level of willingness, and there just happens to be the right person in your vicinity or that's going to pull you through the window and start taking you into meetings and start introducing you to fellowship and showing you the path that you need to go on. That's kind of like the thing that we're trying to create at any given time, whether you're at work or wherever you're at and you see somebody. Even like right now, the reason we're on Facebook Live is so that we can show people like how we do it, what we did to overcome our addiction and the path that we've gone down. And we can, if you just follow us, you too can have this same life. And I think that that's the most important thing, is to try to convey that message. How do I get people to say, like, okay, I'll follow you for a year? And you know what I mean? Basically, that's what it is. Like, just stop going in the direction you've been going in and go in this direction. Follow me. I've been successful at staying and really just not starting again is what I'm most successful at, right? Is right now, it's just like not about starting again, you know? Because once that happens, then it's like, oh, that's when it can get brutal right now. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, what are you going to be doing, like, for your birthday? Are you celebrating anything special?
Yeah, I just got a group text right now because I go to the Sunday meeting at Costa Mesa Alano Club. It's the HA meeting, but I'm doing a birthday then, and then I'm probably with my sponsorship group also, you know, do something. And probably for me and Tyson around the same time or something like that.
And that's at Costa Mesa Alano Club?
Yeah, we usually sometimes I haven't been to a meeting in a couple of weekends. I mean, we're moving, and then also with the holidays and everything that both fall on Sundays. But yeah, we're gonna do dinner after meeting on Sunday, and then probably my sponsorship group. We all meet on Thursdays. It's just our sponsorship group. It's like between 10 and 18 guys, depending on who's there. But we have a meeting that's just us every Thursday.
Oh, nice.
We use a treatment center that Tyson's friend with. We use their like day center that after hours they let us use their day center in their like main room. Sober partners over in Costa Mesa, we use their like day room at night on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
So we all go there. So I'll probably do, you know, sometimes they bring cakes or whatever there, you know.
You got to make sure you come Wednesday to the center and take your chip.
Yeah, I'll come there.
All right.
I'll do that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. So I think I got everybody giving us a thumbs up. So the sound, everybody that's out there, if you can just say, yeah, the sound sounds good. You can hear you can hear Jeff pretty good. I'm assuming everybody can hear that. I think the feed is working. And it took me like, I've been struggling trying to get this thing to going. And I don't even remember, maybe 2 years ago, I was probably talking about it when you were over at the center going, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And, you know, one of the great things about being in sobriety and being in recovery and like overcoming addiction, and you find that you can start walking through the fears that you've had in the past, things that you would be like normally afraid of, is probably one of the biggest accomplishments I've had, because I know that like even now, like 10 minutes before I even when I went online and started doing this, and then you called or you did that, like I was afraid to get out and do this. Like I was like, oh my God, what's people going to say? Oh, You know, do I have anything to say that's even worthwhile? I don't really know. But what I do know,
you talk. I always hear something. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's like the way you talk to you, because I don't feel like the way that you talk when you share and stuff. You never really talk again like at people. You know, and it's one of those things. But yeah, dude, I've done. I mean, in the past 2 years, I've done more. I mean, people out there listening and stuff, like, man, like I got, you know, when I got out of prison, April 2020, due to COVID, I got out early, and I had nothing. My dad set me up with nothing in the sense of, like, you know, my credit score was shot, my renter history was shot. I owed fucking so much money. Up to that point, I couldn't even have a bank account for 7 years because I had fraud on my record. You know, my dad basically had an old car. It was maybe worth like $2 or $3 grand, and he was like, "Here's this car. Use it to get to work, get a job, do whatever." He's like, "I'm done." He's like, I'm not telling you anything." He's like, "You want to go back to prison? You want to do whatever?" He's like, "You can stay here for a couple months," because the COVID was happening and I couldn't really go anywhere, and I was on parole, so I was trying to stay there. But he's like, "Do what you got to do or don't," you know, kind of a thing. And you know, from there, I mean, I basically run the majority of the office I work out now. I work out now because of my work ethic, and because I'm not drinking or using, and I do what I got to do, and I show up on time. So my work history,
Right.
you know, I was able to purchase a new car. I have a bank account now. My credit score is great. I filed taxes last year for the first time ever, and I'm fucking 36. You know what I mean? All this shit that I thought was like just so far off in the distance of like never even being an option, or even like, because that's what happens is like, get so many felonies, I just gave up after my 7th or 8th or 9th felony or whatever, because it's like, this is my life. Like, I don't fucking, like, you can't recover from this,
Right.
you know? And it's like, but like now all the group I'm in, all these people, I mean, there's so many guys that like did way worse stuff than me that are doing what I'm doing or way better than me. So if that's a thing that, you know, keeps people kind of new down, which it did for me for a while, you can get out of it. But it's not something that's going to fucking happen right away. And like, if you think it's going to happen after 3 months of sobriety and all your shit's just going to fall in your lap and fix itself because you're sober, that's not what it is. The only what rehabs are not a.
Hey,
Yeah,
how long were you? How long were you at Surf City Recovery?
I was there for, man, I was there because I had 30 days sober. I spent 30 days in detox because I had to re-detox off of the other
Yeah.
drugs. I was in 30 days, so I
Well,
went
you
there
were
with
with
30
us
days.
At least like 6
And then I
months,
moved
right?
out at 5. I moved out at 5 months, so I was
5
there for
months.
about 4 or 5.
4 or 5
Yeah.
months, right? Yeah, that was awesome. Just listening to you right now, Jeff, is so amazing, actually, to hear you talk about sobriety, to hear you talk about your life, hear you to, like, you're putting it all together. You're carrying this, like, message of depth and weight, this like story of your life that is just so real. It's like unbelievable to hear. Like, honestly, what I was getting at was like when you first came in and what you would talk about and how you would contribute to, you know, the group and where you started at and where you're at right now is so it's awesome is what it is. I mean, honestly, I'm super stoked for you, man. And for all the people that you're helping right now in your life, and knowing that that's what it takes is to give back to the community and have fellowship. And just hearing you talk about it right now is just like what it's all about for me. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's like, I know, and I just remember all the shenanigans that were going on when you came in, and just and being able to like just walk through all that, and like that's what we do is there's a lot of hijinks that goes on, you know, and you know, at the end of the day, like the greatest gift that you have, they say your greatest character defects will one day become your greatest character assets. And I don't think that is probably, when I heard that for the first time, I didn't really realize the value of that. And listening to you right now is just a reinforcement of that statement, because you have so much experience and you have gained so much strength. And now you're carrying this like message of hope that is so powerful. And I think that that's, again, like the most like valuable tool that we have as members of this community of recovery, is to not be shy. It's to be transparent, open, and honest about, you know, our history and what we did to get here. But most importantly, what we're doing on a daily basis to stay. And that's the key. And then I'm just like so stoked for you, listening to you right now. Just like, I don't want to say it, but it warms my heart to hear where you're at in your life today. It's pretty rad. Just to be a part of your life, and I'm so grateful for you.
Thanks. I didn't even realize how good I'm doing sometimes until I start talking about it, and then I'm like, oh yeah,
dude,
fuck,
you're
I'm doing great
right now. You've been flowing. You're flowing, dude. It's like you're just like, it's like gonna be. It's rad. I'm actually today, like the last week when I was doing this, and even in the beginning when you first called in, man, I was sweating because I felt nervous, but I don't really feel too nervous anymore. I'm not sweating that much anymore. But it's all good. Anyway, all right, listen, let's open up the line and see if somebody else will call in.
What time is the thing on Wednesday?
The thing on Wednesday is at 5:30.
5:30.
We're gonna eat 5:30 to whenever we're done. Like usually it starts at 6, but we're gonna have food at 6. So if anybody else wants to go, it's at the Surf City Recovery Outpatient Center on Beach and Talbert, 18090 Beach Boulevard. Jeff will be there sharing experience, strength, and hope again. So you guys can all, if you need a sponsor, you can come out there and talk to Jeff because he's the shit.
I'll be there. Sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, we're gonna hang up right now. Thanks for calling. Love you, brother. Thanks.
All right, later.
Okay, everybody, that was my first call-in ever on my, I don't even know what you call this, Inspire the Courage to Change. That's the name of the show. And I'm trying to use this as like, I don't know, I don't even know anymore. But I wanted to kind of share like really quick about on Jeff and how just it was like so exciting. I'm so excited to hear him sharing it like the way he did right now because you know, he's got 2 years, and that's an example and a testimony, and that's kind of like what the whole program's about. It says bear witness to. I got to take that off right now because my ears are like sore. But we talk about there's this prayer I learned. I'll just go ahead and there's this prayer, and it says something about like it's the third step prayer for those of you who know, and it talks about how we're to bear witness to those who we would help of God's power, His love, and His way of life. Now, before we go on, it's like, you know, the whole God thing, like what I want to say is like, I have a very specific relationship with my higher power. It's not a secret or anything like that. But I know in recovery, most people choose the power of their own understanding, and that's totally cool. And that's probably the caveat that allows this program to grow and grow and grow, because nobody is trying to enforce any type or system of belief on anybody else. And so when we talk about a power greater than ourselves, or we talk about bearing witness to God's power, His love, and His way of life, a lot of times I'll preface what I'm going to say with this, is that the power that we're talking about manifests itself in so many forms. So when I got on my knees and I asked God, I said, hey, God, please help me get sober on this day. I was telling you guys that story earlier. You know, I was very specific with my God, but here's the thing, like, and I know you guys have heard this joke, right? That joke about where the guy's out in the water and he's drowning, and he's saying, God, please, he's praying to God, you know, obviously the supernatural God in the heavens and stuff like that. And he's saying, God, please, I'm drowning. Are you going to help me? Are you going to help me? And then all of a sudden the helicopter comes by and is dropping a line down and says, hey, grab the thing, we're going to help you. And the guy goes, no, it's cool. God's going to save me. God's got this. Don't worry about it. And the helicopter guys say, well, all right, and they fly away, right? And then all of a sudden the guy's praying, the guy's back in the water, and he's drowning, he's going down, he's coming up, he's coming down. God, please help me get sober, please, please help me not drown, right? And then all of a sudden the boat comes by, and he throws the line to the guy, and the guy goes, don't worry about it. God's going to rescue me. God's got me. And then pretty soon the guy finally just dies. He drowns. And then all of a sudden he wakes up and he's at heaven's, you know, pearly gates or whatever. And he sees God, and he walks up to God and he goes, God, like, I was praying to you to save me, and you didn't save me. Why? Why didn't you save me? And God looks at him and goes, well, what do you mean? Like, who do you think sent the helicopter? Who do you think sent the boat? He goes, you got to get in, right? And that's kind of like the story that I was going to tell you right now. So like when what happened for me, that power greater than myself, see, I believe that God intervened in my life, but He didn't come into my life to save me. What He did is He introduced me to another man who went through the 12 steps. And that man was the vehicle, just like the boat, that God sent to me. And so in our testimony and in a show like this, or in an opportunity, once you recover, it says in that prayer that I was talking about how we are to bear witness to those that we would, it says to bear witness to those that we would help of God's power, his love, and his way of life. And that becomes the responsibility, I feel like, is that once you start understanding a little bit about what that looks like, and in the beginning, you start out and you're kind of like, you struggle with this whole concept, and people don't know how to share, or they don't go to meetings and they feel shy, or whatever the case may be. But once, like Jeff, like all of a sudden he's out there and now he's carrying a message of hope. He's talking, and you know, we didn't get to hear him talk about some of the other things in his life, but that power greater than himself. How do you access that? Like, I think that, like, that would be like the most important thing to talk about, is like, if I was to make a list of the things that would be defined as, like, if I'm going to share about God's power, his love, and his way of life, I've got a lot we could talk about. So if we just talk about, you could talk about the God thing, or the power greater than yourself, and that power, that love, and the way of life that emanates from that. And it could just be as simple as a group of drunks, or good, orderly direction. Those are like those little acronyms, right? And so I think that if anybody wants to and wants to talk about that, see, like, I feel like listening to anybody share, I listen for a demonstration or an explanation of how God intervened into their life, or this higher power, and then a description of what they consider to be their higher power. Because a lot of times the higher power is going to manifest itself in the actions that we take, like in the joke that I was telling you about. It wasn't that, so like in the background, God sent the boat. In the background, God sent the plane. Just like at some point in time, there's probably a bunch of people. Hey, Caitlin, what's up? There's a bunch of people out there that can kind of relate to that, where they went and said, okay, like in my case, I got on my knees and I asked God, hey, I needed to be sober on January 2nd, 2005. I needed to be at the trade show. I needed to be at the convention center. And, you know, I thought I was going to do this on my own. And, you know, what happened was I thought I was going to be sober on December 14th. I thought I'd be, you know, I had to get sober, and I had to get well enough that I could show up to work on time, and just not be sucked up and smoked out on meth, because that's what I was doing. But God intervened in my life, and he introduced me to a man that took me through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I will say that's my story. And as a result of that, I was able to maintain my sobriety for the last 18 years. You know, I was sharing last, was it Tuesday was the second? Yeah, last Tuesday was my birthday when I kind of launched the show. I turned 18 in sobriety years. And through that, I've been able to continue sharing my story with other people. And it's just become like the thing that I kind of feel like it's something I do. And I know people probably go to meetings and people probably, oh, geez, I was taking my birthday at a meeting, and they were like having it over and under. These guys were like betting on how long I was going to share. But I only did 6.5 minutes, so that was perfect. And everybody else, and I felt like I kind of nailed it. But it was about, I think the most important thing is how do we find a power greater than ourselves that can help us solve our problems. And that's kind of like what the goal is for all of us to be able to access that power greater than ourselves. And we got to define what that looks like. So if you're out there and you know my phone number, give me a call so that we can hear, like you guys have been hearing me yammer for a minute about powers greater than yourself, bearing witness to God's power, you know, testimony, God's power, his love, and his way of life. So I want to think about that for a minute. God's power, his love, and his way of life. So like, see my hands? Like, what does his power look like? What does that look like? God's power, like his love, his way of life. So if you have like a a story about how God intervened in your life as it relates to your recovery, and there's some supernatural event that you just can't explain, I think that's worth going into. Like, so I'll tell you like a story really quick while I'm hoping somebody calls the phone that's out there. I know there's like a few people out there, but somebody could call in, but I'm going to tell you a story. So while and I'll say this too before I tell the story. One of the greatest parts about recovery, I think, is that we get to tell our stories over and over and over. Sometimes it's kind of like sickening to have to listen to somebody tell the same story over and over. So I apologize if you heard this story. But this was like a supernatural event in my life, I think. For the first year of my life, I was praying for the knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry it out. I would get on my knees in the morning because I heard somebody say that when I got into the program and into recovery. I was told, get on my knees in the morning and pray. And I was told to get on my knees at night and pray. And I was told what prayers to pray, and I did them. And then a lot of times I was doing this prayer where I was like, praying for the knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry it out. God, help me today. I would just say this prayer, and it's one of the steps, and one day I woke up and I said, God, I got on my knees and I was like, what is your will for me? I don't even know what that is. So I picked up the phone. And I hadn't gone to, church wasn't a part of my program in my first year of recovery. I didn't really go to church. I wasn't really doing that kind of thing. But what I was doing was, I was just doing 3, 7, and 11 every day, trying to figure that out, and look at what, and I kind of feel like that was what God's will for me was 3, 7, 11. If you don't know what that is, you can ask somebody. But it's the 3rd step prayer, the 7th step prayer, and the 11th step prayer. And in those prayers is where I found direction in my life. It's kind of like I was telling somebody before about what prayer meant to me. And what it meant was a way of me programming myself every day to have a positive and to have positive affirmations and to have goals for the day, to be grateful for the people in my life. And that's kind of what prayer meant. And what it did was it helped me build upon the principles that I was missing in my life, the principles of of the program of recovery, which I don't know if it's but what it really is the principles I was missing in my life were stuff like honesty, faith, forgiveness, integrity, courage, discipline, perseverance. There was a lot of things that I was missing, a lot of principles in my life that were missing. And when I started praying in the morning, and I started sometimes I would honestly feel like I was just talking to myself. But what happened was by doing those prayers, I would find that I was preparing myself for the day. I was inviting God into my life and basically assigning a value to that. And in that value, I found meaning and I found purpose. And that, I think, is one of the most important things in my life today, is finding value in something and finding meaning and finding purpose and then pursuing it. And that's where the prayer came in. And that's where, honestly, that I felt like I started adopting a new set of attitudes and a new set of actions into my life that I had never dreamed possible. And it all comes from that daily prayer and daily meditation. And that's kind of where my journey began. And it's funny, before I ever even got into recovery, when I was asking God on that December 3rd, get me sober on this day, do this for me, I need you, he delivered for me. But that set a course for the story I'm going to tell you about right now. Because once I realized that I was sober that day, and I correlated it to that prayer. I had asked God on December 3rd to be sober on January 2nd, and it actually happened. What didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, but it did happen. And so all throughout the journey, I started correlating these opportunities of my requests, my prayer life, and then all of a sudden I'd have an outcome come that would be directly relational to that request that I made, let's call it. And this is one of those times where I was, on my knees. I've been sober like 11 months, maybe even I might have even had a year. My timeline's kind of messed up because it was 18 years ago. But I was living at a sober living house on I don't know, here in Huntington Beach after having moved back from Oceanside. And I was on my knees in the morning and I was like, kind of like lost, you know. I was having a really difficult time in my recovery because after you spent your whole life trying to craft your personality as this certain guy, like, you know, that I don't know if you guys saw that last picture I posted. That was me, like in a meth-induced state. You know, I was in my mom's garage at that time with the cat, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, whatever, it's whatever it was. That was my life back then. But I don't know, I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah. So, make a long story short, you know, I'd been sober about 11 months. I moved back from Oceanside, came back to Huntington Beach, and I'd been on my knees praying, asking God, what's your will for me? Because I was confused on who I was anymore. That was my old self, and now I'm trying to create a new self that was like probably the most challenging part of my life. It's like, who am I now? Now that I'm going to be sober, I'm going to live this life. What do I do with myself? I didn't know how to dress. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know who to hang around with. I was still just like sober for a year, and I've been praying for the knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry that. And I'm out and I'm like, oh, what does this even mean? And so, like I said, I hadn't been going to church or anything like that, and I'm just making this about church. What I'm making it about is me, basically. It's just my story. And it's about my story of intervention. So I like how I correlate my prayer with events that happened in my life, and then I assign this like, wait, when I do this, I get this, and the outcome has been good, right? And so this is why I'm suggesting this to you. I was on my knees. I go, okay, God, I'm gonna find out what that looks like. I'm gonna call my sister. So I got up, got off my knees, got my car, started driving because I knew my sister went to Mariners Church, and I called her up. And oh yeah, let me preface this too. Let me back it up. So what I was saying in my prayer before I go, hey, I'm praying for the knowledge of God's will. This is how specific I am in my prayer. So if you're out there, right there, and you're listening to this message right now, like there are people who say don't ask for things or don't pray for things and ask for like specific, you know, just pray to help other people and be thankful. I don't believe that. I believe that in prayer we ask for things. And what I asked for was a sign. I said, God, I need you to show me what your will for me is. I need you to give me a sign. I mean, I need a billboard. I need like bright lights. Like show me what you want me to do. Like don't leave it up for, don't be ambiguous. Just tell me what you want me to do. Give me a sign. I was very adamant, give me a sign, billboard, lights, right? Tell me what your will for me is. And that was my prayer. And I mean, I meant it too. I was like very, like just how I'm talking to you right now, very like about it, right? God, give me a sign. And so I got off my knees, I jumped in the car, and I started driving down. I knew my sister went to a church somewhere in, I don't know, Irvine or something like that. I don't even remember, like Mariners Church. I heard it. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't like a churchgoer. I was more like a general. My whole life, I was like considered myself a general in the Legion of Doom. Like all I did was like doom stuff. Like that's the kind of person I am, right? And so I'm driving down the road. I call up my sister, hey, Ann, what's going on? And she's like, oh, hey, what's up? I go, hey, where's that church at? Tell me how to get there. And she's like, okay, go down Victoria from your house, drive down here. And as I'm driving, I pass Harbor Boulevard. I'm on Victoria, and I'm headed to the 55 freeway because I'm going to get on, that's the direction that I'm going, right? And the next thing you know, I'm driving down the road and I'm coming up like right to like where College Hospital is, if anybody knows where that's at. And this guy literally has a sign. It looks like an arrow, okay? And he's like kind of like a sign guy that's on the street, and he's got this like pointed sign and it says The Crossing on it, right? And the guy literally looks at me as I'm coming down the street. He points right at me. And then he points at the sign, he steps off the curb to like almost get in front of me, and then he just goes like this with the sign and he points it right into the parking lot. As I was talking to my sister, and I just got off my knees asking God for a sign of what's his will for me, what the knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry it out. Well, like So had I not been praying, had I not been talking to my sister, had none of that stuff happened. When I drove that by that guy, none of it would have made sense. But when that guy drove by with a sign, just like I said, God, give me a sign. Now, I know this sounds kind of corny, but this actually is legitimately happened. And you know what happened? So that guy directed me into the parking lot, and it's like at the hospital, right? It was like by the hospital side. And it said the crossing, and it had a little cross on it. And so I ended up going over into their parking lot, and I walked out there, and, you know, there's an interesting story behind that, but I ended up being a part of that place for a long time. And, you know, I found out a lot about what the knowledge of God's will for me there was. And I learned how what I learned how to do is I learned how to add that to my tools of recovery, because it's like I'd been around that type of stuff my whole life, I think, and none of that stuff matters, you know, but it is a key component. Like when you're like in the middle of your disease and you've crossed the line, the one thing I can tell you is that like, I feel like, you know, God always, it was like the experiences in my life, and I'm sure the experience in all your lives, are the, all right, Edward, I see you on there. Come Wednesday night, Eduardo, if you're listening to me, I'll see you on Wednesday at the center. And you're rad. But yeah, so anyway, getting back to my story, I just wanted to give a shout out there. But like that's how I knew that, like when I started like putting it out there and I started getting on my knees and I started talking and having this relationship with my higher power, I started seeing the miracles happening in my life. I started seeing activities and things, correlating them, and aligning myself with the universe, however you want to call it. Like, I don't care where you're at in your spiritual walk and what you think spiritually. It's like you can put it out there. You have to audibilize, verbalize, and make requests on what you're looking to accomplish in life, and the universe will collaborate in your favor. God will answer you. But you got to do the work, and that's what I found out is like it's all about doing the work. And today, I know that the challenge is, you know, every day, how do I continue to maintain my recovery? You know, there's a long story. I got a lot of these type of stories where God intervened in my life. In fact, the story of Surf City Recovery is a lot like that exact same story. You know, I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, hey, you know what? I think I want to go in the treatment business. That's not what happened either. And, you know, what's funny is like, I'm sitting here mostly just talking to myself, and I know that. But the goal is that somehow this will play somewhere and people will realize that they can come to my treatment center in Huntington Beach, California, where we do detox, alcohol, drugs, fentanyl, methamphetamine, whatever your drug of choice is. We got a full curriculum, full continuum of care, running from detox to residential, from PHP, IOP to sober living. And, you know, after doing this for 10 years and then being sober for 18 years, I think I have a certain, a certain style that seems to, you know, we're always been effective working with small groups. We're not like a large treatment center where there's hundreds of people, 30 people in a group, and just nobody getting really, I don't even know. I just know that there's some centers around here that are just so big. I just don't understand that. But, you know, the story of Surf City Recovery is another story of me reaching out to my higher power and me putting it to prayer, and then God answering me exactly like I said. And that's that. That's pretty much all that is my story. It doesn't have to be, you know, I'm not trying to push that on anybody. I'm just saying. Like, but at the end of the day, it's coming up on 8:28. That's like an hour. I'm hoping that at some point in this, recovery share, people find an opportunity, or they want to reach out to me, give me a call. I can help you navigate the recovery process from addiction. or just whatever life challenges you with, any adversity that you're going through, I'm definitely open to communicate with you and talk with you and share my experience, strength, and hope, and try to point you in a direction that I think that might be useful. Yeah, pretty much that's it. I think that 60 minutes is going to be the opportunity, and I think I'll wait and see what happens with this production. I know I want to thank everybody who reached out to me last week and told me to keep doing it. I had calls today, people I talked to, and they said, hey, yeah, you know what? It looks like you might be able to do something. And I don't really know. I just know that my life and my passion is about recovery from addiction. My life and my passion is about helping people find a relationship with their higher power. My life and passion is about people today and relationships and how we can like build stronger and more meaningful relationships. Because really, in a global sense, in a community, at a local level, a global level, this is everything we do is about the relationships that we forge today. And you know, if you look at everybody around, it's like we got to try to bring everybody together. The goal is to bring people together, not divide us. The goal is to set aside everything we think we know, and have a common goal, and that would be to be in love, and to be in acceptance of other people's ideas, beliefs, and not try to impose our ideas and beliefs on other people just so that we can feel better about what we believe. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that our society has today. And, you know, for the addiction part and the addiction piece, you know, there's so much stuff going out there. It's like, the only thing I know is like recovery and addiction. Surf City Recovery has been the greatest vehicle God could ever have provided me, and enable me to help other people. So I'm encouraging you to give me a call, or pass our number around to anybody else. If you want to come out to Huntington Beach, California, get sober with Surf City Recovery, that would be fantastic. We could share our experience, strength, and hope together, share a lot of stories. And overall, I just want to say thanks for everybody who tuned in and watched. If anybody's around in Huntington Beach, we're going to be at our treatment center Wednesday night for the alumni meeting. So come on down, especially all you guys that are part of the alumni that haven't been there lately. Jeff, we know this. I'll be taking a birthday trip, and Jeff will be taking a birthday trip. That's a fact. So anyway, I want to wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and check this out. I got some cool sound effects. Like everybody, I just want to say thank you for being with us tonight. And that's my fans. And here's our music to kill it. And oh, wait a minute. Thank you again for attending Surf City Recovery and Rich Seidel and The Rich Show. And I don't know really what to name the show, but I can take some suggestions. It could be The Rich Show, or it could be Inspire to Change, Inspire the Viewers to Change, or it could be anything. But what I would like to do is hear from you more, and hopefully next week, or maybe even Thursday, we'll put on another one. So I'm hoping to do that. It just depends. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we are out of here. Damn it. Okay? All right. Thank you, and adios, amigos. All right.